Hi everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel. I feel like I've just been in a creative sprint. Like, I don't know. I have so many video ideas. And one of my goals this year, one of my only goals this year, was to read more off of my physical TBR. I haven't done that. For some reason, I've been gravitating more towards like script books, ebooks, Kindle Unlimited books, books from the library. And believe it or not, my bookshelves are actually fuller than they were at the start of the year. So I took some time to input all of my books in my living room. We're not talking about the books in the bedroom, into the list, because all of the books in my living room are my priority TBR books. And I figured that for this video concept, I can do a series where essentially I let a random number generator set my TBR. I want to pick 3 books for each one of these videos. I'm going to be doing this every single month, probably multiple times a month, until the end of the year, in hopes of getting through the 130 books on my priority TBR. It is ridiculous. I am definitely reaching the death by TBR. But without further ado, I'm gonna pop myself into the corner of this screen here. I'm gonna screen record, and we're gonna let a random number generator pick my TBR. Multiple people have done this video idea. This is not an original concept that I came up with. There are many booktubers who do this. I'm just letting a random number generator set my TBR. So this is my TBR. There's probably like 1 or 2 repeats on here because I got new books and forgot to input them the right way. But let's get to the random number generator and see what we get. I have 130 books on my TBR. So let's see what's gonna come up. Number 114. Which book is that? It's gonna be a new one. It is The Dead Romantics. I actually really wanted to read that book. I love that it came up. I'm gonna put the date in for any books that were selected so I can know which video it was a part of. The next book, 109, The Fiancé Farce. Oops, I already read that. Number 31. Number 31 is Babel. If you're new here, I started Babel at the beginning of this year as part of like a buddy read I was doing with a group of people on Patreon in January. I got like 40% of the way through Babel and then DNF'd it because I was bored. That is not Babel's fault. That is my fault and me not necessarily loving books that have academic settings. And of course, Babel is set in Oxford. That's enough rambling. I'm going to tell you about the books in a moment, but I'm very scared. And the final book I'm going to be reading in this video, number 4. What's book number 4? Part of Your World. Yes! Okay, these are the books that I'm going to be reading in this video. First book that I got was My Dearest Darkest. This is pretty chunky, but I'm really excited that I got this. I don't know necessarily what this is fully about. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez was the next pick, as you just saw. I'm excited that I got this book because I actually also have Yours Truly on my TBR. So I started this a little while ago. I read only like the first chapter and then I put it down, but so many people love this book. I'm excited that this came up on the number generator because I had been meaning to get back to this and I really wanted to read it soon. Part of Your World is the story of a woman who's a doctor, and like her family has always worked at this hospital for generations, but she's the only one that works there, and she feels a lot of pressure to stay in that environment even though she's working with her really toxic and shitty ex-boyfriend. One day she gets stuck in like this small town and the mayor helps her out. It's an age gap, and I believe this is their love story, but it's a lot more about our main characters like personal development and the things that she's gone through and the things that they have to go through together in order to be together. This chunker of a fantasy book I mentioned, I'm already halfway through Babel. I read this at the beginning of the year. I DNF'd it and I'm coming back to it. I think a part of it was that I was listening to the audiobook, and while the audiobook is very good, I couldn't fully get into it. This is a very dense book. It's about like language and imperialism, and this young boy who gets taken from his hometown and he gets taken to England by like this figure who, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they go to Oxford, and it's this world where there's silverworking magic that has a lot to do with language and translation in order to get the right kind of magic to take place with this. That's what I've gotten so far. It's very, very, very academic in its nature, and we'll see what I think of this book when I finish it this time around. But for this video, I'm honestly probably going to go between all of these, but my first instinct is that I really want to start with My Dearest Darkest. This is a very awkward grip, so I'm going to start with that, and I'll see you with my initial impressions. Good morning. I need you to know, if you can even hear me over the wind, that I did break my reading slump. It's literally 4 weeks later, but I have Part of the World in my backpack, which I am almost 100 pages in, and I'm really enjoying. I'm on my way to get a bagel from Absolute Bagels because I've never had one. And I want you to know that it's really fucking cold. I need a jacket, legitimately. And I have a backpack because I have my blanket in there. I was like, I'm gonna go to Central Park after I grab my bagel and just like sit down and read my book. It's too cold to do that. It's literally not even 5 minutes later. I'm a fucking idiot. I hallucinated that the bagel shop on 86 and Broadway was Absolute Bagels. It's not. Absolute Bagels is further uptown at 106, 107th Street. It's 7 p.m. the next day. It's been raining all day. I've been reading this book, and I've been loving this so much that the last time you saw me with this book up, I had gotten to page 88. Today alone, in the past 2 hours, I got to page 230 or something. I'm almost at the end. I have less than 200 pages. I was reading it in one sitting, and then a thought suddenly occurred to me. I'm doing a reading vlog. I'm not giving you an update because I've just been flying through this. The only thing I have to say is that this book is actually really funny. There definitely are some difficult topics in this book, but the relationship between these two characters is so good and so cute. And every time they're together, it just makes me smile and grin. And Daniel is such a freaking cutie pie. Talk about fictional crush. It's Daniel. Daniel is that man. But I'm gonna finish this and I'll let you know my final thoughts. But I don't see this being anything less than 5 stars. Hello besties, it is the next day. I did finish Part of Your World last night, and like I said, I knew it was gonna be a 5-star, and it was a 5-star. But I wanted to wait till today to give you my official review and thoughts, because if I had tried to do it last night, you would have just got, oh my gosh, it's so cute, I love it. And that would have been the review. Don't get me wrong, that still is gonna be the review, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit more. Part of Your World, in case you don't know, is a story of these two characters. We have our main character, who I want to call Ariel. Her name's not Ariel, it's Alexis. Alexis, and we have Daniel. So Daniel is the mayor of this very, very small village in Minnesota. And one day Alexis is driving to or from a funeral, and her car breaks down, and Daniel's the one to save her. They end up hooking up that night, and they continue to have a friends with benefit situation. But of course, it's a romance, so love feelings get involved in this. And Alexis is dealing with a very difficult past and a shitty situation, to be honest with you, because she has broken up with her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her and was emotionally and verbally abusive, and he is forcing himself into her home. So she's being forced to live with her ex-boyfriend. She doesn't have a great relationship with her father either. He's also verbally and emotionally abusive. And Daniel is dealing with a situation in the town that I won't tell you about because you don't hear more about it until later in the book. That's what it's about. I just think that their romance is so freaking precious and so fluffy and so heartwarming. Daniel is the epitome of man written by a woman because he is so emotionally intelligent, so kind, thoughtful, respectful, and appreciative of Alexis's time, so supportive of her, and just literally the kind of man you want to read a book about. Anyway, I thought the romance was really good. I appreciated the really great balance of humor and deeper conversations. I honestly thought this book was going to be a lot heavier than it was, and while it certainly does have some heavy topics, and there's definitely content warnings in here for domestic abuse, I think that it is still very well done in this book, and it never loses sight of the fact that this is a romance book. And throughout the whole way, it always feels like a romance book. These two characters are our central characters, and one never gets more attention than the other. I just really, really, really love this. It was exactly what I needed after a month-long reading sprint. I love that my hair is making a little heart. How cute. So I'm on to my next book now, besties. I will be reading The Dead Romantics. And I want to say earlier, in the first clip, isn't it so funny how I clearly rolled The Dead Romantics as the random pick for this video and fully convinced myself that it was my dearest, darkest? It was The Dead Romantics. So we have another romance coming up, and then I have Babel. That was the first roll, but I'll tell you, I'm gonna give Babel a chance, but I don't think I'm gonna give that book more than 3 stars. So if I read the next chunk of the book, like the next quarter of the book, and I still feel that way, then you will not be seeing it in this vlog. I'm just not enjoying it, then I just don't want to include it in this vlog, in which case the random roll that I'll show you now as I'm speaking to you was 6 of Crows as the next potential option. So if Babel doesn't work out for me, we're reading 6 of Crows. But for now, let's move on to The Dead Romantics and hope that I get this vlog done within the next few days, because I'm keeping some cards close to my chest, but just know that there are some exciting things coming up, and there may be some things in my future that will require quite a lot of time. Is about to fuck a ghost. That's all I'm gonna tell you. This update is random as hell, but no, that's what's gonna happen. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you can hear me, but I am at the beach and I just finished The Dead Romantics like 30 minutes ago. I want to tell you that I did enjoy this. I gave it 3.5 stars though, just because the romance in here felt like a subplot, and by the end I did love these two as a couple and love the basic premise of it, but this is ultimately a story about grief and family and feel like a failure, which I enjoyed all of that. It was very well done. It's just not the level of romance that I wanted for this story, so that's why it was 3.5 stars. I'm still really glad that I read it, but we are about to head home now, so I think I'm going to continue with 6 of Crows in the next clip, because I'm enjoying Babel, but it's definitely getting to the part where they're having a lot of conversations about race and our characters are experiencing a lot of microaggressions, and I'm just not in the mental headspace where I want to read that right now. So I think I'm gonna do 6 of Crows next. Hello. It's the end of the video now. I wanted to give you an update on 6 of Crows, which is the book that I decided to continue for this little challenge, and I read more of it. This time I got to like page 80 or something. DNF'd it again. That makes it the 7th time that I have DNF'd 6 of Crows. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've tried this book so many times over the past 3 years or so. I have tried in so many seasons, I've tried in so many moods, and each and every time I come to the same conclusion of DNFing it because I am bored. I don't care. I'm so sorry. Me not caring doesn't mean that you're wrong in loving this book, because you absolutely are not. And I genuinely think this is a me problem because this book is so well loved. Also, I dripped oatmeal all over myself this morning. Anyway, the fact that I've DNF'd this book 7 times out of sheer boredom, I genuinely, absolutely do not give a single fuck. It is time for me to unhaul this book, and that's a decision that I've come to. I've given this book more chances than any book I have ever attempted to read. Usually when I DNF, that's the end of story, or I'll try again one more time. I've tried 7 times with this book. I'm just not interested, and that's all I have to say about it. Because this little video idea is going to be a series, I've come to the conclusion that this structure that I followed is going to be the same, in that if I roll something and I want to re-roll, I will allow myself a chance to do that re-roll. But if I re-roll and I'm reading the book and I'm not enjoying it, I get to DNF it, but it has to be a hard DNF. If I DNF a book in one of these videos, I have to unhaul it. Excuses, no, oh, I'm gonna try again later. If I had re-rolled, gotten a new book, tried to read that book, and just could not get into it, had to DNF it, it's an unhaul. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Apologies, I know that it is a little bit late. I wanted this to go up today. This is Saturday as I'm recording it, but it's not going to, because quite honestly, besties, I've been having a lot of anxiety this weekend. I've just been struggling. I can't bring myself to sit down and edit, because anytime I sit down in front of the computer, I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack. So I hope that you understand that. Apologies. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.